Welcome to InsideBoxing's ThrowDown. My name is Steve Johnson. I'm joined by co-host and CEO of InsideBoxing.com, Aurelio Martinez. And we're once again joined by Rocky Mountain Boxing's Eric Sugarfoot Duran. We're going to talk today about a couple of recent fights we had. One, where we had for the King of Brooklyn, we had Paulie Malignaggi going against, who was that?
Super Zab Judah.
Super Zab Judah. And then also this past weekend where we had Adrien the Problem Broner, who the problem was solved by Marcos Rene Maidana. You guys?
Well, I'll tell you what, Steve, Eric Sugarfoot. Anyhow, we've had a good year in boxing, no doubt about it.
Spectacular year.
This year has
Awesome.
been great for boxing, and it comes with good pleasure for boxing fans, simply because we had a run of almost a decade where we really haven't had any real good boxing. I mean, one, maybe two a year, but this year we've been blessed with good boxing, good talent, good matchups, good for the boxing fan. So anyone that thinks that boxing is dead or falling or something has to think again, because this year we've had some good stuff.
And you know what? I'll agree with that. And also, I will say that the three of us had anticipated that in conversations that we'd had, and both verbal and written, that we expected 2013 to be a breakout year for boxing, and it was.
Well, it's the competition. It's just not the great fights we're seeing. Albeit Top Rank and Golden Boy have their little Cold War going on. They're bringing the best out of each other. Each company is making fights that fans want to see. And one weekend you'll have a Top Rank show, a triple header on HBO. The following weekend you have a quadruple header on Showtime. These guys are, even though their fighters should be competing in the ring for better matchups, they're competing outside of the ring to bring the fans fights they want to see, so that guys like us get on these shows and talk about Top Rank better. No, Golden Boy is better. Well, what about DeBallo? Well, what about him? And what about that? They're all bringing their A game to the table.
You know, that's a good point, because there was also, a couple of years back, there was also a big concern that promoters weren't fighting the best fighter they had with another promoter's best fighters, and it was going to be a detriment to the boxing fan. Well, it's kind of worked the opposite, where now the promoters are competing with each other, so they're pulling in better talent to put the better shows on.
Exactly.
And that's what we're getting. So true, we may not get the best Top Rank fighter fighting the best Golden Boy fighter, but we don't need that at this point, because each individual promoter is putting on these fights that are putting highly competitive fights. You guys remember a few years back when we would see televised fights where you had the promoter's fighter 21-0 fighting a guy that was 5-9.
Exactly. Well, and here it is in the past, most promoters, they wanted their one big name star and a bunch of fighters who can fill the undercard. Now they want guys that they can fill 6-7 weekends of a main event in the same division, in hopes that they can put those two guys in a fight down the road. These guys are bringing in 6, 7, 8 top-notch prospects to showcase them, instead of having just one big name like a De La Hoya or a Floyd Mayweather, where fans already know what the big event is going to be this year. Now we have every weekend.
Well, you guys know that early in the year, well, not even early in the year, I'd say midway through the year, there was a lot of controversy amongst boxing scribes, where they were saying one weekend, Showtime is taking over. Next weekend, well, HBO's taking over. The next week, Showtime. And so George Foreman, I laughed one while ago when he said a few weeks ago, where he said, I think the as you referred to, the Cold War between Top Rank and Golden Boy is good for boxing. I laughed. I thought that was ridiculous. But as we just said, he might have been onto something, because we're still not seeing the two top guys in each division fight because of this Cold War. But we are seeing competition that's keeping fans interested in the sport.
Yep. I agree. Now, local promoters, not only in Colorado, but state by state, all across the United States, can heed that and listen.
Yes.
Because you can still go to a local show and find 19-0 fighting 1-9.
Yeah.
Okay. As a matter of fact, that's what you're going to see. I mean, So basically, let's kind of move and get to what everyone wants to talk about. And let's talk about this fight that just happened this weekend.
Well, I like to start off. I sit here humbled, eating my crow pie. In a previous show, I stated that Showtime's biggest crowning jewel in the whole Golden Boy deal with Mayweather was Adrien Broner was going to be the next star.
Mm-hmm.
AB, about billions, whatever he wants to call himself. I got on the train. I was the pulling the horn. Choo choo! We're going down the track. We're going to steamroll through everyone. As I can protest to some of myself, social media is the devil. It will bite you in the ass when you're least expecting it. Let me tell you, personal experiences. He built up a persona that maybe in his mind he thought was real, and he got his ass handed to him. Mm-hmm. Plain and simple. If he would have been a normal guy, just went about his business, he would have walked out of that ring with a warrior's legacy for staying in the pocket, taking a beating, and not going out, for some excuse or quitting on the stool or, finding a way out. But because of what he built up, everyone's made a mockery of him. Fortunately for himself, he'll have a chance to redeem himself later on in the ring. Will he ever be that megastar that I thought he would be and himself thought he would be? Probably not. After building yourself up like this and taking a loss like that, it's going to be hard to bounce back and be that megastar that he thought he was going to be.
You live by the sword and you die by the sword. I mean, honest to goodness, he was. I don't know if you want to say premature, but he was to a point where he actually felt he was unbeatable, and he was very cocky. I mean, you can see his YouTube videos, but I mean, that's the seed that he planted. Mm-hmm. I mean, so obviously, what happens when you get into the ring with someone that really doesn't care about your antics and kind of puts that aside. Because I mean, anyone that saw that fight this weekend saw where even at the beginning, where Adrien Broner, when they were in the ring together, I mean, he was walking right up to Maidana, to his back, and Maidana would actually turn around just to ignore him, because he was actually taunting and doing his little things that he does, like nobody could beat me. So as it happened, a lot of people were happy, satisfied to see him basically get his mouth shut, and that's basically what happened, because it wasn't a close fight. It wasn't a competitive fight as far as back and forth where you can say it's going back. It was a Maidana show, and the only thing you can give credit to Broner is that he took his ass whipping like a man. He lasted the 12 rounds, and he did leave like a crybaby. I mean, no interview, no nothing at first. And I put this on the social media where I was a little concerned. I thought maybe he was actually hurt, and that's why he didn't stay to do an interview. Well, that wasn't the case, because later on he actually said he was still going out to the nightclub or something that night. So, but your take on the fight. Let's talk about the fight.
Well,
okay?
well. First of all, let me get on my soapbox.
Okay.
Man, you two had your turn. Eric, I tried to tell you this that this was going to happen, and just two observations. First of all, is that me being the elder statesman of this group here, I've always been big on respect, and respect yourself, respect your opponent, respect the game. Broner did none of those three. He allowed himself to take advantage of every piece of as you'd say, social media or whatever media, period.
Every media.
To let everyone know that I'm going to kick his ass, and I'm going to have him where he's not going to speak Spanish, he's going to speak English. All these things that are disrespectful to yourself and to the game and to your opponent. And he got his hat handed to him. And I haven't been that happy to see somebody get worked like that since I saw Marco Antonio Barrera walk Prince Nassim Ahmed over to the turnbuckle and bang his head over. See, that to me, that was, and to see what I've noticed in the last few days, like you guys have also noticed, social media all of the photoshops that we've
Yeah.
seen.
Oh, yeah.
They've been
Yeah.
hilarious. You know,
They're having a field day.
and they're having a field day,
Yeah.
and that's what happens when you run your mouth like that, and you meet somebody that takes advantage of you. Don't forget, you guys know, and I know most of you fans know that 5 months before this fight, Maidana was talking about retirement. Okay, so
Yeah.
he put all his eggs in this basket, and he went out. And we have talked about this many times over the years, Aurelio, you and I. You're supposed to lose, okay?
Yeah.
You're supposed to lose the fight. So why not go over there and give it your all? And that's what Maidana did.
That's
He
what he
said,
did.
I'm supposed to lose. I'm going over. He jumped on him. I think he totally shocked Broner by by his attitude, the way he came over and got him, and then to see him, go down. You're saying that he took his ass whooping like a man. I don't think he did. I think that
Well,
he was still in shock as to the way everything happened. I think he was totally and for him to talk about a rematch, I've been saying this for years, and Eric, you don't know this, but Aurelio knows that I've said this for years. Anybody that fights under a Golden Boy banner, if I'm the opponent, I follow their lead that they set up years ago. I beat him once. I don't need to fight him again. I would not talk about a rematch with him. Paulie Malignaggi talked about a rematch with him after he talked a rematch with Zab Judah. I'm sorry. He talked a rematch with Broner after he got beat. Broner didn't want to hear it. Okay.
yeah.
So now Maidana, don't hear it. If you want to fight Maidana again, let's see you go fight Keith Thurman, or let's see you fight one of the other guys that you know how it is when you lose. You're supposed to drop down a peg. He's dropped down a peg. So let's see him work his way back up.
And don't forget, a lot of people out there felt Paulie won that fight.
Yeah.
Point-wise, I mean, Paulie didn't have the power to hurt Broner, but many people think that point-wise, Paulie won that fight. And they have a legitimate reason, because it was that type of fight.
Paulie actually exposed Broner for not having good footwork, okay?
Yeah.
And for really not having the power that everyone thought that he had, okay?
Yeah.
Now, I'll give him this. He jumped 2 weight classes to get that welterweight shot. But once again, that's because of his mouth. He was flapping, and he got that. Now he's been put back in his place. So now the conversation comes, should he drop back down to 140? What is looking for him at 140?
Well, but let's talk about the fight, because there's a lot of folks out there that didn't see the fight. And if you didn't see the fight, Showtime is going to replay that fight Saturday, okay? And I understand that in addition to replaying the fight, they're going to have an exclusive post-fight interview with Adrien Broner. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Well, let me ask you, why would you do that?
Well, because people were waiting for an interview. They wanted to hear from Adrien exactly what happened. You know, what you talk a big fight, and obviously you weren't in the fight.
But in my opinion, that takes away from the accomplishment of Maidana. I mean, that's just me.
I mean,
Broner's
still a bigger name. He's still a bigger star.
But that's you guys. I think he's supposed to not be in the star. I think he's supposed to not be in the star that everyone thought, was of the impression that he was going to be.
We want to hear his excuses. We want to hear what his excuse is.
With the exception of Marciano and guys like Floyd Mayweather, everyone's lost. Everyone's had their bad day in the sun.
But nobody took an ass whooping. And after running their mouth. See, this is the thing I want you to remember. You run your mouth like that, man, nobody, you guys can stay on that with him. I don't care about nothing. I don't want to hear nothing he's got to say or nothing, but we'll go ahead. Saturday, there's going to be a post-fight interview.
And people, you may want to hear that. If you don't want to hear it, turn the TV off.
I'll let you guys tell me about it. I'm going to turn it off.
I'll listen because I want to hear what his excuse is. It has to be an excuse. There has to be an excuse. He lost. Okay, there has to be an excuse.
So it should be short. I lost.
Well, whatever. We'll find out. But anyhow, this Saturday night, just check your local schedule, and they're going to do a replay. Showtime will do a replay, and they will have that post-fight interview. But anyway,
this is my boy. That's why I can talk to him.
Let's talk about the fight. Okay, let's talk about the fight. Maidana, from the opening bell, came right at him. I kind of watched the fight, watched it again, and to me it was like it was brewing inside of Maidana. He wasn't letting the media know how disturbed he was getting with all the smack talking and the thing that was going on with Mayweather. I mean, with Adrien Broner. Who Wants to Be Mayweather? Okay, so
Exposed.
it's my shirt. I was reading my shirt, but anyway, I think he was just waiting for the first bell to ring because, as you can remember, he didn't take any time. When that bell rang, he was on it. I mean, he went right after Broner, and there was no. He was either going to get knocked out early or he was going to accomplish and put an ass whipping on Broner, and we know the latter happened. So tell me, a good strategy, a bad strategy.
Well, I think a big part of it is two things. Is
or was it even a strategy?
We forgot, myself included, how good Marcos Maidana really was. We forgot about the performance against Victor Ortiz. We forgot about the performance against Amir Khan, because we were thinking about Joseito Lopez, how he put him down, put a lot of pressure on him, and somehow, some way, Maidana came back to be maybe a B-level fighter. I thought Broner was the A-level fighter, A+ in my book. I thought he'd be too fast. He would pop shot him, catch him with counter shots all night long, and just run him into whatever he wanted to set him up with. And he couldn't do it. It was a classic Jose Luis Castillo versus Floyd Mayweather. The pressure fighter stood there right in front of the counterpuncher and didn't allow him to use his speed and his athletic ability. He stayed on top of him, he pressured him, he got him out of his little mind games, and pretty much broke him down. And that's what the athletic speed fighter is supposed to do. Break down the brawler. Hit him with stuff he doesn't see, but it was Maidana who was hitting Broner with the stuff he couldn't see.
Well, let me say this, and you guys can disagree with me. I hope that you will. That's what this show is about, is disagreement. But I think that Marcos Rene Maidana exposed Adrien Broner in two ways. First of all, he exposed him that Broner's not a boxer. Broner's seriously not a boxer. He's a banger that has given the impression that he's a boxer because he has good hand speed, but he's not a boxer. His footwork is terrible. You know, he's flat-footed, which made him able to be hit. You know, he wanted to imitate Floyd with the shoulder roll, and he has no shoulder roll, which made Maidana. And let me back up one thing. Really, remember when you said about how Broner was being disrespectful, you know, throughout the whole thing, and that this was all brewing in Maidana? Give credit to the trainer of the year, Robert Garcia.
You didn't see the Brandon Rios fight?
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you paid attention to Robert Garcia, how when you could see Maidana just before the fight, when Broner came over there, walked in front of him, disrespectful. Ooh, Maidana was like, ooh, you could see the smoke coming about him, and Robert Garcia got in his ear, you know. Yeah. And you actually could see Maidana say, yeah, just calm him down.
Wait for the bell to ring.
Yeah, calm him down.
I mean, it also could have been what Ariza was giving him in the corner. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
That's been nipped in the bud. That's been nipped in the bud.
Well, I'm not
some dental gauze is what it came.
Well, it may be and it may not be, but frankly, I don't care, and I'm not gonna make an excuse that frankly, I'm not an Ariza fan.
I'm not either.
I never liked Ariza, and I never will like him.
I won't.
But I'm not gonna sit there and accuse him of doing any wrongdoing. No. He's going to take a test.
That's right.
So let the test go through, and if there was something in the gauze or the smelling, it's going to come out in the test. I mean, obviously, because of this video that's been out and it's gone through the internet, you can bet that they're going to really look at the test a little closer than just an ordinary test.
Taking the fact that Brandon Rios has failed his post-fight drug test too.
So we'll let that just take its path.
But I don't think that has any bearing on the fight.
I don't think it had any bearing on the fight. Now I'm going to disagree with both of you guys simultaneously, because number one, you're saying that Maidana, is good, the better boxer, the better fighter. You're saying that he exposed Broner. Well, let me start with Broner. Now Broner is a good fighter in my opinion. Okay, he doesn't get hit, unlike. You take this fight away, and he always makes his opponent pay for trying to hit him.
Can I ask you, just wait a minute, what opponent has he made pay of any relevance to us other than Paulie Malignaggi?
Well, because he's outpointed everyone he's fighting.
I'm just asking.
And when you outpoint someone, you make them pay, because they got to get close to you to hit you, and obviously he's making the better contact winning the fight. Okay, so for you to say he was, for you to say he's not a good fighter or something like that, that's just not right. He just met someone he couldn't handle. Okay, and on your side, where I disagree with you, is you're giving credit to Maidana as being this good boxer. Maidana really don't know how to box. He's a brawler. He doesn't have style. He doesn't have movement. He doesn't have a defense. This is what makes his fights interesting. Going back to the Ortiz fight, that's why you had knockdown here, knockdown here, knockdown here, because Maidana is there to get hit. He doesn't have a style. He's in your face, and I'm going to knock you out, or you're going to knock me out. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to sit there and put him on a pedestal, because you can put him in there with a good boxer, and they're gonna beat Maidana fairly convincingly.
Well, then who's beat him fairly convincingly? Because Amir Khan is a great boxer, and
Amir Khan don't have a chin, and then you're fighting someone that can bang. Okay, what I'm saying, I'm not taking away from his style.
Yeah,
he's forward and he's going to hit you. So if you don't have an answer for that, but to say he's in there and he's slick and he's got some style and he's going to box, no.
I don't think you said that.
No, I said what.
But you said he was a good fighter. Yeah, a good boxer.
I said what I think we forgot. What we forgot was that he's a good fighter, and whether you're beating him at this point of the fight, he's gonna come back and he's gonna give you something that either A, if you can handle it, you'll win a decision, or B, if you can't, he's gonna put you on your ass and he's gonna put you out.
Yeah, well, I agree with that part. He comes to fight, okay? And I think what happened was Broner, with all his pre-hype and talking, and all he did was light the fire under Maidana, where Maidana came in, and he came in with that attitude was, you know what, they're going to carry me out of here on a stretcher, or I'm going to get him, because you can't do that to me. You can't, and there's a pride factor. There's a pride factor.
I agree with 100%, because like I said, when we first started off, is that just 5 months before the fight, Maidana was seriously considering retirement. So, like you said, he did what he does.
Exactly.
I agree. He did what he does, and that's why I still stick with it. I'm going to ask you what you said. You disagree with me. Do you still think that Broner is this great boxer?
Well, I never said he was a great boxer.
Okay.
I just said he's a good boxer, and he has some style, and he knows what he's doing. Obviously, you don't get to his level in boxing without knowing boxing.
Well, and let me tell you this, and I think you guys will agree with this. There were moments in several rounds, from the mid rounds to the end. There were several moments where it looked like Broner had said, "Okay, Maidana's tired. I'm going to go get him." He couldn't dig deep. He couldn't dig deep.
Well, because he'd get hit right back.
Well, and I was just getting ready to say, every time, and I saw Maidana, just like you guys, I saw Maidana hit him with some jabs that stopped him dead in his tracks.
Oh, yeah.
This boy hit too hard for him.
He did.
And I think it's a result of him jumping those 2 weight classes and getting in with a banger. Paulie, pure boxer. We saw Paulie, expose him for not being a boxer.
Yep.
And so then when he says, well, I'm going to go ahead and take this guy who's supposed to be a tough guy banger, he gets his hat handed to him.
Well, you're right. He's not in a good situation now. Okay, you got
really
Paulie.
not.
You got a Paulie that basically gave him a boxing lesson as far as scoring.
Exactly.
Okay, and then you got Maidana,
the brawler,
which gave him the brawler side of it. And
now he's stuck somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, so
and that's the thing, is you talk about he jumped 2 weight classes. Well, at 135 there was no competition. His hand was forced to move up to find that competition. He should have went to 140.
He'd been exposed just like he was Saturday night.
Then at 140 you got Matthesi there, and
you got Danny Garcia.
Well, hold up, you got Alvarado Rios. I mean, but once again, that's top rank. But I'm saying
I think he smoked both those guys.
Who, Broner?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Well, you guys may get your wish,
maybe not Ruslan.
You may get your wish, because chances are he's coming back down to 140.
You think he could stand in with Provodnikov?
I said maybe not Provodnikov, but
Well,
Rios
Yeah.
and Alvarado.
I know you're gonna hate this. What about somebody like Breeders Prescott?
Breeders Prescott of 5 years ago?
Yeah.
It would be a good fight. Breeders Prescott today? No, he smokes it.
I don't know.
I mean, what has Breeders Prescott done besides hit Amir Khan one time? He really didn't do nothing.
No, that's not true. But let me just say this. Prescott we have talked with. He's almost the king of 4-rounders. If you can stand in with 4 rounds, and I don't know if
so he's Butterbean
for a reason.
So you're comparing him to Butterbean.
Butterbean is very different. But I'm saying that boy has a tough jab. He hits hard. I don't know if Broner can stand in with that.
Well, let me tell you.
I mean,
Well,
Victor Ortiz is a great 4-round fighter too.
Yeah, just in that case,
you got issues at one
I think
point.
I think if Broner gets in there with like a Breedis Prescott, he's going to have to find some way to
stay away from him for 4 rounds
to take it into the later rounds. I mean, obviously that he's going to have to do that anyway because that's the blueprint now.
Exactly.
To go after Broner. Broner
that's right.
is go right at him and don't give him a chance.
Yeah, but not everyone fights like Maidana. So
so
let's give Maidana some credit too.
Let me move on to one thing. We're going to talk a little bit more about the fight, but let me ask you this. Where does Maidana go from here? Now he's a champion. He's got a title. That would not be fair.
To who?
Well,
to Maidana.
Why? He earned it.
Floyd beat the dog shit out of him. And most people that know that, it wouldn't even be fair.
Yeah, that was
well, then who does he fight then?
Well, wait a minute. Let me back up. Maidana. What's for Maidana?
Well, I think Maidana's got
some options.
He's got some options there, and you know where his options are going to come. To be honest with you, because the money fights and the options are going to come from either Matthesi or Ruslan or someone coming up to that 147.
Garcia
and Garcia. Mm-hmm. That's where his
Thurman.
Exactly, or Thurman. I'll tell you what, I like Thurman. I like Thurman.
Man.
So I mean,
Cal Brock. I mean, the options are there.
But I think that's what's going to happen because you're right. The way it stands right now, he really doesn't have anything unless he goes against Mayweather.
Well, you heard what he said right off the
option.
bat. That's the first thing that came out of his
mouth. That's the lotto ticket.
Well, and that's
the lotto ticket.
5 months ago, you talking about retirement. Now you got a chance to get the lotto ticket. Why wouldn't you say that?
But that's a legitimate. That's a legitimate request because who's Mayweather going to fight? Well, I don't want to see him fight Amir Khan.
Well, the reason it's legitimate is because I'm sure, because we've all been in this situation. Floyd is saying, you know what? He beat up on Broner. Let's see how he does with me. Mm-hmm. Okay? And I think a lot of people would like to see that. Me, personally, not going with the heart, going with the head. The fight won't even be competitive.
Exactly. But you know what? It's going to have a Canelo-type building because everyone's going to think there's this strong bull. He's going to have a Matador-type fight. Sure. And Floyd's going to shut him up like he shut up all those Canelo fans in Vegas.
Well, I'll tell you what. You got to see Broner in moments where he had his moments where he thought he was coming. That's Floyd 10 times.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
It won't be competitive. It won't be. But like you said,
I'm gonna tell you something. Let's talk about the fight itself, and for those who haven't seen the fight, pay close attention because I mean, Broner was really looking. He was begging the referee.
Oh yes, he was.
He was begging the referee for help. Referee wasn't having any. Well, the referee was helping him, but he was begging. He was actually begging. And then he was locking him. I mean, when have you seen a referee warn someone about 17 times without?
Oh, John Ruiz fight. Just watch any John Ruiz fight.
Well, but that's what I mean. If you're going to warn them, then I mean the standard is after the third one,
take a point.
You take a point and make them stop. But I mean, this referee kept warning him about the elbow pushing and the holding, and it must have been 17, 18 times that he warned him and never would take a point, but he was real quick to take a point from Maidana when Maidana's trying to get out of that Tommy Hearn Sugar Ray lock that he just couldn't get out. So basically, he made it a point to say, "Hey, quit holding me. If the referee's not going to stop you from holding me, you know." And the headbutt didn't really even.
That's the difference between a game plan and a foul.
Yeah, exactly. But the key is. The headbutt happened, and then there was seconds that went through, and once Broner saw that the referee was started to warn Maidana, he took 2 steps back and did the John Elway la dance, and fell to the ground, and was hoping and praying for a disqualification.
He got the Academy Award. But let me tell you this: when you get a chance, folks, for the ones that haven't seen it. You'll get to see the replay where the headbutt was not a butt. It was a push to try to get away. And once again, you saw the referee. He took a look at Broner's lip. There was no busted lip or anything, and he's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna give you a minute." As far as I'm concerned, that was a potential TKO or KO if you want to talk about, because that break that Broner got was enough to get getting wits about him, because he was in trouble again.
Hey, and I don't know, maybe you guys saw this, but how about the corner work in Broner's, where they loosen up the tape and let it hang, and then they throw him in there, and they tell the referee.
You know what? I think that anyone.
I mean, all the breaks, but what they didn't realize. Yes, they were giving a break to Broner and giving him a little more time. But guess what? They were giving this slugger
a break too.
So guess what happens after? Exactly. So it worked against them. Although they thought they were buying time, it worked against them, because Maidana would come back with some fierce and awesome punching.
Those are some good points, and I think also the one that you just touched on is really a valid point. Broner, might seriously, take a look at his corner. If you're going to move up to the big time, and you're going to sometimes circumstances demand a change, and I think we got to see that some flaws in Broner's game. Definitely saw some flaws in his corner's game.
Oh yeah.
And for him to be able to come back from this, we all know that the first time that you take an ass whooping, and we can say he took an ass whooping. It really is yet to be seen how he responds to what happens.
But that's the great thing about boxing. He'll get his chance.
Big flaws in the corner, and that's when you know you got to. Because I'm in the corner. First thing I'm gonna tell him is Adrien, run! Get on that bike, run! Let's go. Let's go start fighting till the 8th round. Run. But no, they were silent. They had no idea what to tell.
Hadn't been in that situation.
Great trainers like Roach and Garcia and some of these guys, they've took their losses too. This was their first time in the big spotlight. Hopefully they'll get experience from it too, and they'll learn from it as well. Not everyone's perfect. Even the great trainers we speak about, they take losses. Did it look like Robert Garcia had a plan for Brandon Rios? No, but he had to sit there for 12 rounds and try to say something, try to do something. This was their first time in the spotlight. Hopefully they go back, take some notes, and they step their game up too. But does he need a change? We'll see.
Well, let me ask you this. We all agree that, there's some things have to change. You think this braggadocious persona that he is, you think he backs down from that? Do you think he can back down from that?
I don't think he can, but here's the problem is...
No, he'll be the same.
Mainstream boxing has become WWE. An entertainment business. Floyd Mayweather did it. Oscar De La Hoya did it with the music and the soap operas. They all did it to make more money. Adrien Broner just followed a blueprint that was set for him, but he lost. The difference here is he lost.
Well, I would dispute that in that, carried it to another level with the disrespect of everyone.
Well, times have changed. That's why media outlets have changed.
Well, talking about disrespect, I mean, even after Broner was clearly hurt in the first round and was knocked down and was getting dominated, even in the 3rd round, you see when he humped him in the corner. Oh, I mean, he's losing the fight. He's getting his butt kicked, and he turns Maidana out and humps him. So I think everyone was happy to find out, what was that in the 11th round
when he humped him back? Yeah, it was.
He turned Broner back, and Broner was so hurt he didn't even know what was happening. And when he realized what was happening, he tried to hit him from the back. I mean,
hold on to that. We were happy. Not all of us were happy.
Well, no. I mean, you got to hit that way. Broner's got his fans. I mean, obviously he has his fans, and obviously he has his fans. I mean, there was one guy on social media that says, "I had it a draw."
He's insane.
He's absolutely insane. But that's just a support. But anyway, so what does Broner do now? What does he do now? That's
my question for you guys.
Does
he goes back to the drawing board. Unfortunately, because of what he built himself up to be, either he fights again or he retires and stays out of the limelight, which I don't think he can do.
No, and like I said, I don't think his mouth is going to change. I mean, that's Broner.
He has to drop down to 140. he looks big in his arms at 147, but I think that's just because of the weight. It's not because of the physique. He's 5'6", you know. He's a lot shorter than these guys.
He has no neck.
He has no neck. These guys are physically stronger than him.
That's
they
the
might
thing.
not look stronger,
Yeah,
but they're physically stronger than him.
Well, the key is going to be in boxing, and you can ask any boxer out there. You know, I boxed myself. You can ask any boxer. And I still remember the first time I got hit where I saw that black cloud coming in, and I just knew it was over. I mean, I had to do everything I can not to get hit again. But you always remember them punches. Mm-hmm. And you're conscious. And every time you fight again, it's always there in your mind where I'm not going to allow myself to get hit like that. Because it hurt.
I wonder, Lila,
so can he be the same Broner after taking that ass
this is the same.
I mean, because he got hurt. Without a doubt, he
hurt.
was hurt. He didn't just take a loss. He got beat up.
I think this is the same situation, different size, but I think this is the same situation as what happened with Amir Khan. When Breeders' Prescott hit him, you know, it became obvious to everyone. And I think you intimated that earlier in this conversation. How is he going to respond to getting hit? Because everyone now says, if I hit him, I can potentially change his whole attitude.
It was the same thing with Roy Jones Jr. For 15 years, no one hit him. And
And that's no different. 'Cause like you said, 15 years.
You know, 15 years, no one hit him.
This is a young boy that got hit and rocked, and it was like...
They're both my boys. That's the problem.
No, I said a young boy.
Oh.
It's a young boy that got hit and rocked, same as Amir Khan.
Yeah.
He got rocked, and from then on, it's been labeled he's what? Chinny.
Chinny.
Our boy, it might be labeled chinny, but like you said...
Tito Trinidad was
let
chinny.
me ask you guys, let me go back to it real quick.
Yeah.
What do you see for him now? I mean, if I'm Maidana, he's old news. I'm not messing. So where does he go? I mean, now you said drop down to 140. What do you see a good matchup for him where he can show that he's back?
Well, I didn't say drop down to 140.
I said drop to...
I think that's a mistake for him to drop down to 140 because, like I say, then he's got the Matesi. There's some heavy hitters.
He can't fight a bum.
He needs to
That's
stay.
his problem.
Well, then he needs to stay at 147.
Okay.
And not a rematch, but he needs to stay at 147 because there's a lot of mediocre fighters at 147 that he can kind of regroup. So coming down to 40, he's jumping back into the fire.
But I truly believe that he thinks, and up until Saturday it might have been true, but I think he believes that he's the main event guy. I don't know if he feels like he
kind of like Paulie
guy.
Malignaggi with Keith Thurman.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I really believe that. So
See,
now we'll get to see if he's able, if he is prepared to eat crow, and come back and show everyone that you know this was an anomaly and that he's learned his lesson. Mm-hmm. Okay. He's going to have to do something along the line of take somebody, like you said, a couple of fights where he's on the undercard and...
Well, then it's Judah type fight.
If 147 Judah might be a good one.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's a lot of names we'll talk about later.
There's a lot of names. There's a lot of names
he
can. There's a lot of names he can fight to kind of regroup. You said Zab Judah. I mean, he can negotiate with Amir Khan.
Do you think Paulie would mess with him again?
Paulie wants a rematch, but that's not going. I mean,
Paulie wants.
I don't think that's going to happen.
But Paulie just signed with Heyman, so Paulie's looking for the lotto ticket too.
Yeah. So I mean, and I'll give a lot of credit to Paulie because he's done very good for his career in the later stages of his career.
Yeah.
So, but back to Adrien Broner. I mean, he shouldn't be afraid to get in there with someone like
Santa Cruz, maybe, or not Santa Cruz. Soto Carras.
Or Carras, or like you said, the Zab Judah, or Amir Khan. He shouldn't even have...
Broner with Soto Carras?
It's a lower level.
Please.
He's not as fast and not as technical.
Yeah. Carras is too slow.
Lower level.
Carras is too slow.
That's what everybody said about Maidana.
Maybe a Devin Alexander who just took another L.
I mean, so there's options, and I think we'll see. His biggest mistake he can do is come right back and fight
somebody tough.
Yeah,
that
just can't happen.
I
mean, like Virgil Hunter said with Amir Khan, he needs to stay away from big hitters for a while. I mean, be honest. If he's honest with him, his handlers and everyone will let him know. Al Heyman will come and say, no big hitters for a while. That's like you said. Let's drop off the radar for a minute, down the radar a little bit, get some guys that we can get your skill level back up, and then we go for it.
Well, it just goes
he's
to
still
sort of
a young
training
boy.
camp.
It's now coming from like you said, you never bought onto all the hype. You lost respect for him because of that. Would you respect him more if he came back against a bigger hitter and defeated that bigger hitter to prove himself, to redeem himself, to maybe he just had off night?
My whole thing with Adrien Broner,
Without the social media stuff.
well, let me tell you, take that out of the way. My whole thing with Broner, as with Floyd, has been the flapping. That's been my whole thing, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I just say, hey man, you know, I grew up in an era where it's don't tell me, show me. That's all I need him to do. Okay, if he comes back, he gets in with a boxer, he handles a boxer, he gets back in with a slugger, he handles a slugger, and afterwards his assessment is about the fight. And not all this like probably weekend pussy and all that. I don't need to hear about all that.
Yeah.
Tell me about you, assess the fight, tell me what you got next. That's how he'll get my respect. Now remember, I'm nobody. I admit that. I'm nobody.
I
but if
agree
you want to
with
get
you.
my respect, and the average fan that just turns in, it's like with Floyd. You know, the average fan, the way he makes $20 million in this fight is most of the people that they're not real boxing fans. They're just sports fans. And they turn on to see him get beat.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see that. I want to see him do his thing. I want to see him show just how experiment he is. You know, so let's go that route.
He'll gain respect when he gives respect. That's the bottom line.
Yes.
I mean, if he keeps coming back with the same attitude, with the same mouth, throwing $20 bills down the toilet, things
Right.
like that, then he's not going to get the respect, no matter what he does. I mean, that's. But can he change that? He's already paved that road.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we don't know, but we'll find out.
Exactly.
I mean, we'll find out what happens with him in the near future. We're going to find out. So, to me personally, I don't think he's going to change. I don't think he can change. I mean, that's just his nature. That's the way he talks. Obviously, one thing he knows is he's not Floyd Mayweather.
Well,
Okay,
yeah.
and I think he's going to realize that he can forget about talking that baloney.
Yeah.
He's not Floyd Mayweather. He's not the next Floyd Mayweather. So I think once that gets through to his head, and I'm sure it did, then he'll start to pave his own
Oh,
style.
that's a good one
Yeah.
you just mentioned when he said, "I'm taking over boxing after Floyd Mayweather."
Yeah.
That ship has sailed.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has.
Okay, so there we go from there. I think we got about enough time to sum things up.
Yeah, let's sum
for the
things
show.
up.
So
Talk a
Eric,
little
why don't
bit
you
about-
start a little bit about what's your thoughts of the year. Finally, 2013. What's your final sum up of whatever?
Like Aurelio said, it was a great year. Although we didn't get Pacquiao Mayweather,
Mm-hmm.
I think we got enough exciting matchups to sit back and hopefully this parlays into a bigger 2014.
I think it will.
Mayweather's went on record and said, you know what, May 3rd, I'm going to reach out to Pacquiao's people. I'm going to see what they say. Whoever you pray to, whatever your beliefs are, grab your Bible, sit on your rug. Let's pray this fight happens once and for all. But if it doesn't, we have
It does.
Plenty of other
Danny
things.
Garcia, we have Keith Thurman, we have Maidana back in the fold, Timothy Bradley, Pacquiao's still out there, Mayweather's still out there, Canelo's going to rebound eventually, Cotto is still coming up, Sergio Martinez might have one last run in him, Andre Ward is a superstar in the making, Adonis Stevenson, Triple G,
Good fighters.
hundreds of
Yeah.
names out there to carry 2014.
Let me ask you, and then you'll be next, and you let the old guy go last. But let me ask you 3 questions. Fight of the year.
Fight of the year. That's a tough question. You had Ruslan and Alvarado in our hometown, so I'll throw some credit to that. I think there was too many to choose from, really. I mean, it was an exciting year. I can't go back to January and think of what happened in January. I mean, I think we had a Ruslan and Bradley happen in January.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So to go through the whole year, just for some local love, I'll go Ruslan and Alvarado.
Okay. Fighter of the year.
Are we talking mainstream or are we just talking for
2013. Fighter of the year.
I'm going to go with Floyd Mayweather.
Okay.
He had the biggest event in boxing history. He broke so many records. He fought a young, strong opponent that many people believed would beat him. And he's still undefeated.
Okay.
And he's building an empire.
And one final. Your trainer of the year.
Trainer of the year, I know you're high on Robert Garcia, but I'm gonna take Virgil Hunter. I like what he's done with Andre Ward. I think Andre Ward, if Andre Ward had this persona that an Adrien Broner did or Mayweather did, he'd be a mega star. But since he's so calm and so humbled, he's just a star.
Okay. All right. Radio.
Yeah, good.
Let's first of all your assessment of 2013.
I think I'm happy for 2013. I think we saw boxing the way it's supposed to be. We kind of had a flashback to the days when we can turn the TV any weekend and we'd be able to see a Tommy Hearns, a Marvin Hagler, a Roberto Duran, a Wilfredo Benitez, even lower names like Maurice. Whatever his last names, and then you got the body snatcher. I mean, it was filled with exciting fighters that made exciting bouts on any given weekend. And I think this year we kind of went back to that. A lot of new names, a lot of Russian fighters coming in, hungry. You know, remind me of old school USA fighters when you're hungry. And not so much saying give me a win, telling your promoter. They're coming and saying, hey, if I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna go in there and fight. So you got your Russians that came in and kind of invaded the U.S. and actually has been good for boxing.
Yeah, and to speak of that, the only thing 2013 missed was an American heavyweight.
Yes.
Well, the heavyweights have been missing in action for a long time, and I don't see any future for heavyweight boxing in the near future. I think that's probably something that's going to take 5-6 years down the road before we can get excited about heavyweight boxing anymore. Heavyweights now are too much into I need to make the money.
Exactly.
And they don't fight for pride anymore. But anyway, that's my assessment of 2013. I think 2014 will even be better because these fighters that made 2013 are young.
Yes.
Okay, and you got younger ones coming into the play. So I think 2014 is going to be so much better. And for those of you guys out there that say MMA took over boxing, well,
check the numbers.
It never fooled me. Okay.
Your fight of the year.
Fight of the year, I'm gonna tell you what. You don't have to have two top names like a Pacquiao and a Mayweather to have a fight of the year. My fight of the year is Brandon Rios and Mike Alvarado. When Mike Alvarado sucked at him, he had the lip cut when they went bang back to back and back and forth. What an awesome fight! Mm-hmm. What a good fight! And that's what boxing's all about. Is two people that are not going to quit. They're going to go for the gusto. You know, therefore for a while we were getting the quitters. You know, the Victor Ortiz and the Berto. You know, we were getting these quitters, and it was like, well, that's not what boxing's all about. So I'll go with that fight for my fight of the year.
Your fighter of the year.
Fight of the year, I'm just gonna have to go with my man Ruslan. Okay, Bernadikov. Yes. I mean, this guy is a true fighter that goes in there and has one thing on his mind. And when you see a fighter like that, sure, he's not the big names like everyone else, but when you got a guy that goes in there with all heart and he's gonna give it all he got, you can't knock that.
Okay. Your trainer of the year.
That without a question is no doubt.
Okay.
There's not even a competition there, and you got to go with Roberto Garcia, and I'm gonna tell you why. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because you mentioned Virgil Hunter, and I think he did a fantastic job with Durrell, and I'm not gonna knock that. You can take Freddie Roach, and he did
Ward,
yeah. Or you can take Freddie Roach, and you can say, okay, well, what he's done with Pacquiao. But we're talking about fighters that virtually could be trained by anyone. Okay, these fighters are in a class of their own. You take a Roberto Duran, Garcia. Manos de pierda. Yes. But you take a Roberto Garcia, and look what he's done with the spectrum of fighters he's got. Yes. I mean, what he did with Margarito when he trained Nonito Donaire, yes. And he's got Brandon Rios.
Nonito Donaire got mopped up by Rigondeaux.
Well, I'm giving a spectrum.
Just a minute. Just give it your turn. Be quiet
I'm
now.
giving a spectrum, and sure, he hasn't made all these fighters champions, but every fight has been respectable, and that's the sign of a good trainer, and because of that, hands up, he's way ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So
Don't
now
forget Mikey Garcia though. That is his pride.
Oh, Mikey's
His pride fighter,
Mikey's
and he's one of
awesome.
those fighters, just like you said,
Yep.
Ward, Pacquiao. If any trainer trained him, they'd still be great.
I don't know about that. That's his little brother.
Whoa,
He's-
whoa,
I don't know about
whoa,
that.
Well, Mikey's got the talent.
Mikey has the talent, and Ward has been working with Hunter since he was 5 years old.
Since he was 5, yeah. So that's what I mean. But
Yeah. And what he's saying with Virgil Hunter is that who else does he have? That's what we're saying with Virgil Hunter.
and he may become one of the great
He has
trainers.
Sean Porter now,
But-
who just is it takes like,
But like
we
I'm
just-
saying-
we're going back to the Broner
Right.
to the Broner
What
thing.
another name?
He's getting to his time to shine. We'll see.
Exactly. So maybe next year he may move into that spot, or the year before. We just time will tell. But this year, it's Garcia.
And I'll agree on my term. I will say that 2013 was a great year because as we started off this whole segment of Inside Boxing's Throwdown, we predicted that 2013 was going to be a great year, and it lived up to that. And that was a result of us paying attention to the young talent, to the credit of both Golden Boy, and Top Rank. They were able to do some tremendous matchmaking. And like you said, Aurelio, it reminded us of the old days where, for sure, 3 out of 4 weekends in the month, you could turn on either Showtime or HBO and see some good competitive fights. Okay, not necessarily the whole card, but you're going to see some good competitive fights. And because of the youth that we have from 2013 that are going to move on to 2014 and 15 and beyond, I expect exactly the same thing for 2014. I say watch out for some good competitive bouts. Hopefully everyone will get off of this, as you said, the social media entertainment thing, and let's get back to boxing. I really loved the way Keith Thurman did after his fight, where he was passionate and he said, I'm going to give the fight fans what they want to see without any intimations, the name calling and all that. He just said, I want to give them what they want to see, and that's what we want to see.
Well, if you'd asked for Prospect of the Year,
There you go.
it would have been Thurman on my part. But go ahead, finish.
And
Fight of the
I
year.
should have asked that.
Fight
I
of the
should have
year.
asked
Yep.
that. In my opinion, the fight of the year was Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez. Hands down, as far as I'm concerned. You have Manny Pacquiao that was, in my opinion, had started to take complete control of the fight. And for those people that thought that Marquez, threw a lucky punch, I think if you carefully watch the replay, you see that
He knew what he was doing.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
He's
He'd been looking for that.
In 4
Hold
fights,
on, just a
in
second.
4
You-
fights, he's been looking for
Oh,
that.
you
fight.
it's your turn. Calm down. Calm down. So he took advantage of the opportunity that he'd been looking for, and he handled that, And so that'd be my fight of the year. My fighter of the year, Aurelio stole my thunder, but I feel that Ruslan Provodnikov, that performance that he put against Timothy Bradley, I think most of us saw that in that 12th round. Had there been another minute in that fight, Bradley loses that fight. I mean, he was definitely hurt, and to Bradley's credit, he was smart enough to take that knee and let the clock run out. So we had that, and then to come into the Mile High City in the backyard of Mike Alvarado, who we had all been looking forward to for the last couple of years for him to come home. That might have been a mistake on their part to take that fight, but Provodnikov came in here and handled his business.
Yep.
And that's the guy that I would say at 140, just a bulldog. He's old school. He's a bulldog all the way. He's the guy that you have to watch. My trainer of the year, once again, I think hands down, no question, is Robert Garcia, and that's because, like you said, he is what I like to have when we were younger. Aurelio, you remember everyone, you had your favorite teacher.
Yeah.
And this is the guy that everyone wants to be around because he ingratiates you into his family, to make you feel like you're something special. And you can see from Nonito Donaire, you can see from Antonio Margarito, you could see from Brandon Rios that these guys feel the love that he has for them. And that makes you pay attention to him. I also like the way when you see him in the corner, he's the man. Okay, there's not all this flapping going on around. He's the man. He's the man. The fighter pays attention to what he's saying. I think it was a no-brainer there. And as you said, what my other question should have been, prospect of the year, no question, Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman has shown that he's a guy that, man, he has it all. He showed against a tough, and you guys know this from a couple of shows that we did before, and you disagreed with me on a couple. I said Soto Carras is tough, man.
Yeah.
He's tough as nails. That boy, even when he got stopped, and oh man,
But
I told
Thurman
my
got
wife.
caught.
I
Thurman
told
got caught.
Oh, he
man.
said it too. But I told my wife when we watched this fight, when you see a guy get stopped in the middle of the ring, he's had all he can take.
Yeah.
And that's what Thurman did to him. He outboxed him, he outpunched him, but you saw how Soto Carras was. He's trying to walk him down the
Sure.
whole time, and that's where
That's
you
what he
have,
does.
and that's what
he does.
That's what he does, and that's where you have to have a guy that sometimes his corner is smart enough to save him from himself.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's my assessment from
Well, good.
2013.
Well, we picked a prospect, so you might as well throw in your prospect
exactly.
if
Who's
you
your
have
prospect
one.
of the year?
Well, I like Keith Thurman as well.
Yeah,
you know,
he's-
I went on the record when Paulie told him to sit down. I don't fight for co-main event money, and I said, you know what,
Yeah, you
Paulie,
did. Yeah, you did.
You don't want to mess with him.
you fight for co-main event money too. I don't know where you got to be this headliner you think you are either. Now Keith Thurman is a headline fighter. Paulie Malignaggi step back from behind the mic and get in the ring with Keith Thurman.
You don't want to do
because
that.
Keith Thurman will go from prospect to future champ once he puts a whooping on you.
Yeah, so that's good. Well, good. You know, we're gonna get rid of this segment. Look forward to us come back. We're gonna be doing this show on a bi-monthly basis to keep everyone informed with we're coming. But for the meantime, we're getting into the holiday season, so we all here at Inside Boxing, it's Throwdown. We just want to wish everybody out there a very safe holiday season. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Be safe during your party times, okay? That's all we ask. Be safe. Don't go out there thinking you're Sugar Ray Leonard and get there. Enjoy the holidays and come back on the other side, the new year, and let's keep it going, right?
That's right.
Yes, sir.
So, guys, in the meantime, till next time, keep them hands up.
Keep him up, baby.
Good job.
All right.
That was good, man. That was good. People been waiting for
But you
this.
gotta ask questions like that. We gotta do some homework first.
I know. He threw us for a loop. I'm like, oh man.
Well, you know, it was yeah, like you said, it was a spur of the moment. But I